After my rebirth, I secretly gave away Song Jiqing's job, all because, in my past life, Song Jiqing made me give my job to his widowed sister-in-law. He took his widowed sister-in-law and niece to the city for work and school. Left without a job, I had to stay in the countryside to raise my daughter, with no man in the house. My daughter was targeted by local thugs and forced to drop out of school. I went to the city to seek help from Song Jiqing, but he said he was too busy. He then turned around and celebrated with his widowed sister-in-law, whose daughter had just been admitted to a top university. Meanwhile, I had just received the news that my daughter had jumped into the river, and I died on the spot from the shock. With my elder brother gone, my sister-in-law and niece have no one to rely on. I must support them, just like in my past life. Song Jiqing was trying to persuade me to give up my job for his widowed sister-in-law. At that time, we had just passed the exams to become permanent employees at the steel mill. I said, I'm willing to sign. It's just that the scar on my arm is itching again. Could you fetch the ointment for me? I got this scar from staying up late studying. I was so exhausted I dozed off and got burned by the oil lamp. To get into the steel mill, I worked just as hard as Song Jiqing did. All Song Jiqing had to do was focus on his studies. A flicker of guilt passed through Song Jiqing's eyes. Seizing the moment he stood up, I quickly filled in Song Jiqing's name in the applicant section and folded the application form. Song Jiqing, since you're so concerned about your widowed sister-in-law's helplessness, I'll just let you have your noble sacrifice. Seeing that I had signed, Song Jiqing instantly breathed a sigh of relief and then signed his own name. The transfer of employment requires the signatures of both spouses. I quickly gathered the application form, placed it in an envelope, and sealed it with wax. Song Jiqing didn't suspect a thing. After all, he was once my entire world, and I deferred to him in almost everything. He looked out the window and said, Shu Qing, while it's still early, why don't you take the application form into town? That way, my sister-in-law and I won't be late for reporting to work. Meeting his expectant gaze, I replied, all right. Since Song Jiqing was in such a hurry, I might as well go along with it. Once in town, I handed the application form directly to the factory director. Seeing the official stamp on the application form, a wave of relief finally washed over me. In this life, it was finally Song Jiqing's turn to lose his job and his chance to come to the city. In the previous life, after Song Jiqing got a job in the city, he also promised to bring me and our child to live with him. Later, he claimed the factory wasn't doing well and his pay was low, so he told me to grow more crops at home and sell them to make ends meet. The village was not very safe, and my daughter was constantly harassed by local thugs, leaving her no time to study. I wanted Song Jiqing to transfer our daughter to a school in the city, but he said Lin Feng's daughter had exams coming up. He needed to tutor her and had no time to look after our daughter, so he asked us to wait a little longer. We waited and waited. In the end, our daughter succumbed to depression and took her own life, while I fell gravely ill from overwork. For the rest of our lives, my daughter and I will live well in the city. I had just gotten home when I heard Lin Feng's voice. Jiqing, isn't this too much to ask of your sister-in-law? After all, the steel mill job is easy, and she gets to stay in the city. Oh, it's all your elder brother's fault for leaving so soon. Otherwise, we wouldn't be burdening you two like this. Song Jiqing's eyes were full of compassion. Don't worry, sister-in-law, Shu Qing is used to hard labor in the countryside. She's not like you. You and your daughter never had to suffer while you were with my brother. I promise, even though he's gone, you'll both be taken care of. My heart gave a sudden, sharp jolt. Since Song Jiqing was in poor health, I took on most of the farm work and household chores. Even our young daughter learned to cook and sweep at a tender age, while Song Jiqing only had to teach at the village school each day. We made allowances for Song Jiqing's condition, but in his telling, it became the very reason we were tough enough to endure life in the countryside. It's both ludicrous and absurd. In my past life, I foolishly took his words to heart, and it cost me and my daughter our lives for nothing. I don't know what Song Jiqing said next, but Lin Feng covered her mouth with a laugh and looked up to see me standing in the doorway. Lin Feng always carried an air of superiority around me. She was stylish and elegant, while I was a disheveled mess. Lin Feng waved to me and said, sister-in-law, I'll treasure this job. Please don't be angry with Jiqing over this. Song Jiqing immediately looked at me with nervous tension. Ever since Song Jiqing's eldest brother passed away from illness, depleting the family's wealth and forcing Lin Feng and her daughter to move back from the city to the countryside, he had been constantly reminding me. He said his sister-in-law was from the city, not as sharp-tongued as the village women, and told me to mind my words. I smiled and said, it's no trouble at all. It's the least we can do. With your husband gone, We wouldn't dream of letting you and the family suffer. What a joke. It wasn't me who had to give up my job. Anyone can spout nice words too, perhaps because I didn't show the anger and misery she had anticipated. Lin Feng's smile froze on her face. Song Jiqing looked at me with approval. Shu Qing, it seems you've learned some of your sister-in-law's graciousness these days. You really should follow her example. Song Jiqing was handsome and spoke with refined courtesy. In the past, a compliment from him would make me blush with shyness. Now, it just sounds grating and repulsive. Suddenly, the sound of a child's crying and fussing came from inside the room. We rushed over and found our 7-year-old daughter crying, holding a crushed pencil case. Lin Feng's daughter, Qian, stood to the side, her face full of defiance. Although Qian was the same age as my daughter, she was a head taller. I quickly asked my daughter what had happened. My daughter pointed at Qian and said, she wanted my pencil case. When I wouldn't give it to her, she stomped on it, getting more upset as she spoke. My daughter cried again, Mom, this is my only pencil case. Qian stood with her hands on her hips. My mom said you're staying in the village for school anyway, so you don't need such a nice stationery case. Lin Feng looked somewhat embarrassed and quickly tried to smooth things over. Kids don't know any better. I'll scold her later. Song Jiqing frowned, looking at his daughter, his voice stern. Xiaoru, didn't I teach you to be considerate of your sister? She's a guest. What you did was wrong. The daughter hung her head. At a loss, I immediately went to my daughter's side and opened my own backpack. Sweetie, that old pencil case isn't worth keeping. Mom bought you a new backpack and a new stationery set. Seeing what I was holding up, my daughter's tears finally turned into a smile. Song Jiqing frowned and scolded me. You shouldn't be so extravagant. Qian wasn't wrong. You really don't need such nice things for school in the countryside. Besides, you should have bought 2 sets and brought one for Qian too. He then turned to our daughter, Xiaoru, do you remember what Dad always says? We need to be considerate of your sister. She's our guest. Go on, give your new backpack and stationery to her, and apologize. Then you'll still be a good girl. Our daughter's little face fell instantly, the light in her eyes snuffed out. Qian, looking smug, was already stretching out her hand toward me with a gleeful grin. While Lin Feng said it wasn't right, she still told Qian to thank her uncle. The heavy disappointment and helplessness on my daughter's face instantly wrenched my heart. Ever since Lin Feng and her daughter returned to the countryside, Song Jiqing has been favoring them at every turn. The meat and grain ration coupons were to be given to them first, leaving my daughter and me with nothing but wild vegetables and sweet potatoes. On the rare occasions we had meat, it was always the greasy fat that Lin Feng found unappetizing. I would take it home, render the fat, and use it for cooking. Song Jiqing always had an excuse. He would say, they're from the city, mother and daughter, they're not used to our simple, rustic fare, we country folk can just make do. All this time, I've been swallowing my anger and keeping quiet, with me as her terrible role model. My daughter grew timid and weak, unable to stand up for herself. This taught her to bottle everything up inside, a habit that ultimately led her down a path of no return. The memory of my daughter's tragic past life sent a surge of rage through me. I grabbed a bowl from the table and hurled it with all my might at Song Jiqing's face and body. Step aside, my ass. Step aside, step aside, step aside. If you care so damn much about your sister-in-law and niece, why don't you just hand your own life over to your elder brother? Caught completely off guard, Song Jiqing didn't even think to dodge. I was always soft-spoken before, let alone resorting to violence. Smashing the bowl wasn't enough. I went ahead and flipped the entire table over. The commotion was so loud it drew the neighbors out to see what was happening. I pinched my own thigh, and the tears started flowing instantly. Aunties, I don't want to live anymore. My husband has no place for our family in his heart. Song Jiqing had a swollen temple, making him appear to be the vulnerable party, but I was even more pitiful than him. Through tears, I recounted how Song Jiqing kept sending all the good things from our home to his elder brother's wife. 3. He even gave the Lin Feng mother-daughter pair the family's last 1,000 yuan in savings. He said, sister-in-law is from the city, she'd be too embarrassed to ask, we should take the initiative to help them. So, he proactively handed all the money over to her. The very next day, Lin Feng and her daughter were dressed in brand new clothes. Meanwhile, my daughter and I were still wearing faded cotton blouses. Qian twirled around in her new dress right in front of my daughter, declaring herself a little princess and saying my daughter could only be the princess's maid. This left my daughter feeling down for days. At the mention of money, Song Jiqing guiltily lowered his head. The neighbors all shook their heads. It's normal to help your brother out after he's gone, but not like this. If my husband took the money, I'd raise hell until there was no peace left in the house. Look, in other families, it's the men who do the heavy lifting, but in your house, it's the women who are run ragged, working themselves to the bone. They spare you the hardship, and this is how you repay your wife. Song Jiqing, the village schoolteacher, usually carried himself with an air of aloof superiority, but now, under the pointed stares and whispers, his face flushed a deep, beet red. Lin Fang also made a sheepish attempt to explain, but no one was listening to her. Anyone with eyes could see the difference in a glance. That mother and daughter were plump and rosy-cheeked, while my daughter and I were sallow and gaunt. It was painfully obvious we weren't eating from the same pot. After the neighbors had dispersed, Song Jiqing covered his swollen, reddened face and looked at me with a pitiful expression. Shu Qing, it hurts so much. In the past, when he cut his hand harvesting wheat, I would feel awful for ages and never let him work in the fields again. Even our daughter would act like a little grown-up and blow on it for him. Seeing the coldness in my eyes, he couldn't help but shudder. Guilt flashed in his eyes. Shu Qing, I know you and our daughter have been wronged lately, but my sister-in-law has lost her support, and my niece has lost her father. They've never known hardship. Can't you find it in your heart to be more understanding? Be understanding. So just because I can endure hardship, I'm supposed to endure it forever. Lin Fang and her niece had been living a life of comfort and privilege. They're down on their luck now, and it's a pitiful sight, but I'm not the one to blame for their misery. I can still vividly recall the scene I witnessed right before I died. Despite feeling unwell, I went into the city to find Song Jiqing. I told him our daughter was being bullied and wanted to drop out of school. Song Jiqing just looked annoyed and impatient. Flies don't go after a crack-free egg. If she can't manage her own affairs, who's she to blame? You should head back now. I have important matters to attend to. The next moment, through the restaurant's glass window, I saw Song Jiqing and Lin Fang making the rounds with Qian, toasting at each table. Everyone was offering their congratulations. Director Song, the apple certainly doesn't fall far from the tree. Your daughter got into a top university. She has a brilliant future ahead of her. Song Jiqing and Lin Fang exchanged a glance, their eyes brimming with unmistakable pride. Just then, someone from the village found me. Auntie Lu, hurry home, your daughter jumped into the river. They pulled her out, but she's gone. In an instant, my vision went dark, and all sound around me vanished. Ahead lay a scene of clinking glasses and the rustle of fine silks. While I was swallowed whole by the immense darkness at my back, I took a deep breath, finally pulling myself out of the painful memories of my past life. For I held my daughter close, then said sternly to Qian, you broke your sister's thing. You need to apologize. Qian lifted her chin defiantly. I won't apologize. I didn't do anything wrong. Xiaoru suddenly reached out, snatched Qian's hair bow, and quickly stomped on it under her foot. She spread her little hands and said, Mom, we're even now. I don't need her apology anymore. This was the first time Xiaoru had learned to fight back, and I felt a touch of relief. If reason doesn't work, other methods can be used. Qian flew into a rage, stamping her feet in frustration. Lin Fang held Qian close, her expression a mix of stubborn defiance and deep sorrow. Qian, and I should have gone with her father back then. We shouldn't have become a burden to you, causing you two to argue over us. Qian also cried and wailed for her father, saying she was a fatherless child who got picked on. Mother and daughter looked as if they had suffered a grave injustice, one hanging her head and wiping away tears, the other wailing uncontrollably. Song Jiqing's eyes instantly welled up. He turned and glared at me with ferocity. Lu Shuqing, when will you stop? Qian is just a child, and you had to make such a scene. I'm about to leave for the city, and you're still acting like a country shrew. How are we supposed to get along from now on? I looked at him coldly. Then let's get a divorce. Song Jiqing's breath hitched, staring at me in disbelief. After all, I used to care for him so much. Whenever we had a conflict, I was always the one to smooth things over. He let out a cold laugh. Fine, don't you dare regret this. The daughter watched Song Jiqing walk away, carrying Qian in his arms, her expression forlorn. She didn't yet understand what divorce meant. She only knew her father had abandoned her time and again, leaving her feeling wronged each time. I kissed her and said, if someone makes you angry and sad, then we don't need them anymore. My daughter seemed to understand, yet not quite. She may have to weather some storms, but I'll be her shelter through it all. The main hall door remained undisturbed all night. It wasn't until morning that Song Jiqing returned from next door. He kept his head down, his manner somewhat awkward. Qian was frightened and kept calling for her dad, so I stayed with her all night. my daughter, and I were sitting at the table, having breakfast. In the past, all the eggs were reserved for Song Jiqing. I used to think he was the pillar of the family, and only if he was well could the rest of us be well. Now, my daughter and I each get an egg. It tastes so good. I stuffed the egg into my mouth without saying a word. My indifference seemed to have angered Song Jiqing. His face darkened with irritation. Don't you go spreading rumors and wild ideas like those country bumpkins do. Ever since Lin Feng and her daughter arrived, country bumpkin has been the only thing on Song Jiqing's lips, but the silver lining is, he's stuck here himself, doomed to be the very country bumpkin he looks down on for the rest of his life. I reminded him, don't forget to file the divorce papers. 5. Song Jiqing's expression changed, and he let out a sigh. Shuqing, I know I've been neglecting you and our daughter this month, and I'm sorry. I know you're just saying you want a divorce out of anger. My sister-in-law and her child are all alone in the world. I can't just abandon them. You're my wife. You should understand and support me. I cut him off. Aren't you planning to move to the city? If we get divorced, you can marry Lin Feng. That way, you can add Qianqian to your household registration, and she'll be eligible to attend the steel mill school for employees' children. Song Jiqing hesitated, a troubled look on his face. This doesn't seem right. Lin Feng, who had been hiding outside the door, rushed in, her eyes pleading, Jiqing, for Qianqian's sake, just let your sister-in-law bear the slight. Once Qianqian is enrolled, the two of you can get remarried. Following Lin Feng's meaningful glance, Qianqian also clung to Song Jiqing's leg. Uncle, I want to go to the best primary school in the city. I promised my dad I would study hard. It was his dying wish. The hesitation vanished from Song Jiqing's face in an instant, as if he had made a momentous decision. He looked at me again with a guilty expression. Shuqing, once everything is settled, we can remarry. I sneered inwardly. If Song Jiqing had bothered to ask around, he would have known the steel mill's affiliated school didn't require such complicated procedures. When it came to matters concerning Lin Feng and her daughter, he was always far too hasty. With Lin Feng pushing things along, Song Jiqing and I smoothly obtained our divorce papers, with our daughter placed in my custody, perhaps thinking it was a sham divorce. Song Jiqing raised no objections. I packed up my and my daughter's clothes, preparing to report to the steel mill ahead of schedule. Song Jiqing looked at my assortment of luggage, utterly bewildered. It's just a temporary, fake divorce. Why have you packed up all your things? I blinked. I'm taking Xiaoru to stay with my parents for a few days. Song Jiqing breathed a sigh of relief. You've been a bit on edge lately. Getting out of the house will do you good. Lin Feng, however, looked quite pleased. Jiqing, we really should start packing properly. After all, we're moving to the city in a few days. I just can't get used to anything out here in the countryside. As she spoke, Lin Feng shot me a smug glance. I looked back at her with a faint, ambiguous smile, which seemed to irritate her. She leaned in close to me, with a mix of pity and a hint of smugness. We were never cut from the same cloth. You see, my daughter will grow up a proper city girl, while you and your mother are destined to remain country folk. I pretended to be hard of hearing and raised my voice. Sister-in-law, you say us country folk are dirty and smelly, but the very rice and steamed buns you eat are grown by our hands. How can you stomach them? Lin Feng's face flushed crimson with shame, and she turned to retreat back into the house. Song Jiqing looked dazed for a moment, his eyes on me. Shuqing, you've changed so much lately. I feel like I don't even know you anymore. As he spoke, he reached for my hand. I recoiled instinctively, and a flash of hurt crossed his eyes. Let me take you back to your parents' house later. It's about to rain, and you shouldn't ride your bike in this. I was startled. I had no real intention of going back to my parents' place. My parents are very traditional. They're bound to make a big fuss when they find out I'm divorced. I was just trying to think of an excuse to get out of it when Qianqian came clattering into the room. Uncle, I want to go to town to buy some apples. We've already finished the ones you bought us the day before yesterday. Mom says an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Qianqian tugged on Song Jiqing's arm, whining sweetly. 6. Song Jiqing turned his head away, a bit awkwardly. Last month, I had asked him to pick up some discounted fruit on his way home. Our daughter had been a bit constipated lately, and I'd heard fruit could help, but he just said folks from the countryside only needed to drink more water and shouldn't be so fussy. Song Jiqing glanced at me, as if wanting to explain. Shuqing, Qianqian was used to having it before. Don't worry, when I go into the city, I waved my hand, cutting him off. Go ahead and buy it. I understand, we're divorced, Whatever he does is none of my business. Qian, humming a tune, sat on the back of Song Jiqing's bicycle and made a funny face at her daughter. This princess is going to eat a lot of fruit, and the maid gets none. Song Jiqing looked at his daughter with an apologetic expression, as if he wanted to say something. The daughter turned her head away and declared loudly, "I don't want to be a princess, I want to be a queen. Besides, my mom will buy me lots of fruit, I don't need any from other people." Song Jiqing's expression faltered for a moment. The daughter who used to call him daddy all the time had now relegated him to the status of other people. A pained look flashed across his face as he murmured, "She's still young, she'll understand when she's older." He looked at me as if seeking my approval. I turned and went back inside. Ignoring him, I took my daughter to the city she had been dreaming of. Reporting for work early made the factory director very pleased. A group of staff happened to be away for training, leaving us quite short-handed. With me as a point of comparison, his impression of Lin Feng suffered somewhat. Both Song Jiqing and I were originally hired for accounting positions, being quite detail-oriented and having a good head for numbers. I managed to sort out a batch of messy accounts within just a few days on the job. The factory manager was full of praise for me and even advanced me a month's salary. I also managed to get a single dorm room and bought my daughter several beautiful outfits. She used to watch enviously as Qian wore a different set of clothes every day, and now she can too. From now on, she will have all that and more. I will let her grow up in happiness and ensure she never walks the path of her past life again. A few days later, I ran into Song Jiqing near the steel mill. He and Lin Feng were holding Qian's hands on either side, chatting and laughing, looking every bit like a happy family of three. When he saw me, Song Jiqing quickly let go of her hand. He forced a smile and said, "We're here to report for duty at the steel mill today, and we thought we'd pick up a few things while we're here." Lin Feng gave me a once-over, a flash of resentment in her eyes. I was wearing a Dacron shirt with black bell-bottoms, which was no less impressive than the cheongsam dress Lin Feng had on. Putting on a show of concern, she said, "So you've come to the city to buy clothes, sister-in-law? You should still be frugal back in the countryside, you know. Relying on Gigi to work alone in the city puts quite a bit of pressure on him." It was only then that Song Gigi noticed my outfit. He shook his head. "Shuqing, I know you and the child will have a harder time in the countryside. It's only natural you'd want to buy yourself some nice clothes. Let's not dwell on who was right or wrong about what happened. The point is, you need to come back to the countryside soon. It's not right for the house to be empty." What a joke. Song Jiqing thinks I need his permission just to dress a little better. I remained silent. 7. Song Jiqing, thinking I agreed with him, visibly relaxed. "Once I get my job situation settled, I'll come back to visit. You get the house cleaned up so Qian can come to the countryside to play during summer vacation. Oh, and sister-in-law likes tomatoes and cucumbers, so plant more this year. I'll swing by to pick some up when I have time." Song Jiqing was about to say something else, but Lin Feng stopped him. "It's almost 8 o'clock, we need to report to the factory." Lin Feng spoke, then put on a show of being troubled as she looked at me. "Sister-in-law, both Gigi and I have jobs to get to. We don't have loads of free time like you do, so we can't stay and chat." Song Gigi also urged me, "You should head home. This isn't the right place for you." I just smiled, walked ahead of them, and stepped right through the gates of the steel mill. The elderly security guard greeted me politely. "Good morning, Accountant Liu." Song Jiqing quickly straightened his appearance, lowered his head, and chimed in, "Good morning, Accountant Liu." There was no response for a long while. Song Jiqing looked around in confusion, then he saw my face, wearing a faint, ambiguous smile. I raised my hand slightly. "Morning, good morning, everyone." Lin Feng was the first to react, pointing at me in disbelief. You're Accountant Liu." Song Jiqing was equally shocked. "How can that be? No, that's impossible. How could you be, Accountant Liu?" I waved my hand dismissively and produced my work ID. "No time for chit-chat, I have to get to work." The atmosphere fell silent for a moment. Song Jiqing's expression shifted through a series of changes before he grabbed my arm and asked urgently, "Shuqing, you must be here at the factory to check things out early for your sister-in-law, right? Moron, you're insane." I shoved him away with a kick. The security guard stopped Song Jiqing warily. "Who are you? What's your business here?" "We're, here to report for work. Please state your names." "That's odd. Your name isn't on the list of new staff." 8. I hurried to my workstation. What happened next was relayed to me by a colleague. After making a scene at the factory gate, Song Jiqing and Lin Feng had no choice but to accept the fact that only Lin Feng would be Getting the job, getting into the factory also required passing a routine assessment in her past life. With Song Jiqing's help, Lin Feng had barely managed to scrape through in this life. She would have to handle some minor accounts on her own. Despite having some basic knowledge, she had neglected it for so long that she got everything wrong. The factory manager shook his head, rejected the application, and returned all of her documents. I knew Song Jiqing wouldn't let it go. Sure enough, as soon as I left the steel mill after work, someone grabbed me. Song Jiqing was a far cry from his confident self that morning. His face was haggard, and his voice was tinged with anger. Shu Qing, did you really submit a job transfer application for my position? I put on an innocent face. You were the one who said you felt sorry for your sister-in-law and that we should give in to them. Are you having second thoughts now? Song Jiqing ran a hand through his hair in frustration. That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? That the job I worked so hard to get should just be handed over. If you think your sister-in-law has it tough, you make it up to her. What does that have to do with me? But I only wanted you to stay in the countryside and live a life of ease. If it's such a good life, why don't you enjoy it yourselves? Don't you like it? Song Jiqing lowered his head in defeat. It seemed he understood the situation was settled, and there was no turning back. He paused thoughtfully, as if an idea had struck him. Shu Qing, if you don't want to transfer the job, that's fine, but Qianqian is our eldest brother's only child. We can't hold her back. Her mother is so worried she can't even eat. Let Qianqian register under your household and attend the steel mill's elementary school. I'll take Xiaoru back to the countryside with me. I'm her biological father. I would never treat her poorly. My eyes widened in disbelief as I stared at Song Jiqing. Where did he get the nerve? With just a few words, he was trying to ruin my daughter's future. I was trembling with rage. Just then, Xiaoru emerged from around the corner. She would wait for me in the dorm while I was at work, and sometimes she'd even run out to meet me. Song Jiqing spotted Xiaoru, and his eyes instantly lit up. My good girl, you're willing to come back to the countryside with me, right? Sister Qianqian has lost her father and is so pitiful. Would it be alright for her to stay in the city with your mother? Xiaoru tilted her head. I don't have a father either. I'm a pitiful child too. Who's ever shown me any sympathy? I gave Xiaoru a secret thumbs up. Song Jiqing was taken aback, then glared at me in a furious huff. What kind of nonsense are you teaching the child? I'm still alive and well. She's not wrong, you know. Some people are alive, but they're already dead inside. 9. I gave a cold laugh. We're already divorced. You're always saying Qianqian doesn't have a father, so why don't you hurry up and be her father? Wouldn't it be great if we just let you have your way? Song Jiqing's face paled. I had no other choice. Shu Qing, you know that. I thought you'd understand. Oh, really? Then why don't you go tell the people at the Civil Affairs Bureau why you got a divorce? Would you even have the nerve? Colleagues trickled out in small groups. By now, everyone had heard about Song Jiqing's big scene at the steel plant that morning, worried the situation would only get twisted and worse. I had already told my colleagues about the history between us. Well, if it isn't the brother-in-law who's got a thing for his sister-in-law. There's no such thing as favoritism without a reason. A man who lets his own wife and children suffer the consequences is either a fool or a scoundrel. Unable to bear the strange looks, Song Jiqing fled in a panic. Xiaoru threw herself into my arms and sobbed. I won't have a dad anymore. Will I? My heart ached, yet I was also comforted. She was showing the vulnerability appropriate for her age, no longer needing to pretend to be strong. That's right. But you still have your mom, and you still have yourself. We're all going to be okay. I spoke to her softly, trying to calm her down. My life settled back into a peaceful routine, and Xiaoru got her wish to attend the steel mill's elementary school for employees' children. Song Jiqing, meanwhile, took Lin Feng back to the village. Rumors spread through the village that his improper relationship with Lin Feng was what led to our divorce. His reputation was in tatters, and even the village school refused to take him back. Song Jiqing began learning to work the fields. Having never farmed before, he made a complete fool of himself. The crops he tended withered in the fields, and the fruits and melons he planted never even bloomed. Worst of all, after a long, exhausting day, he would find himself barred from entering the house to rest by Lin Feng. Lin Feng covered her nose. You reek, go get cleaned up first. Yet, Lin Feng hadn't even boiled a pot of hot water for him. Song Jiqing had no choice but to go bathe in the river. Just like the other working men, Song Jiqing, with his fair and delicate skin, became the target of teasing from a few burly, suntanned men. His face flushed crimson with rage, and he kept muttering, "How vulgar. after taking cold showers for several days in a row. He fell ill with a fever again. In his delirium, he thought of me and murmured, "Shu-Qing, I feel terrible." In the past, whenever he felt under the weather, I would stay by his side, preparing porridge and giving him his medicine. Xiaoru would also place a damp towel on his forehead, softly comforting him. "Dad will get better, don't be afraid." Now he lay alone in the pitch-dark room, with no one to answer him anymore. With great difficulty, he managed to struggle out of bed. Just then, Lin Feng returned, laden with bags of all sizes. "Ziqing, I was going to buy you some medicine, but Qianqian wanted new clothes." Sigh, it's already hard enough on her, having to go to school out in the village, Lin Feng said, her eyes glistening with tears as she looked at Song Ziqing. After all, she was hoping Song Ziqing would put in a good word for her with me. If Qianqian could really stay in the city, then she might have a chance to stay, too. Isn't her life in the countryside better than mine? Anyway, Song Ziqing clearly cares more about her and her daughter. Instead of offering his usual words of comfort, Songji left the room in a huff, shutting the door behind him. When he saw me standing at the courtyard gate with Xiaoru, his eyes lit up with joy. He instinctively smoothed his hair and walked toward us. 10. Shu-Qing, Xiaoru, what brings you back? Xiaoru and I took a step back. I said calmly, when we get back, we'll have the village party secretary issue a certificate. Xiaoru will be transferring her household registration with me. Song Ziqing seemed unsteady on his feet, staggering backward a step. He sniffled helplessly. "Xiaoru, do you miss your dad? You've grown taller and prettier lately." Xiaoru replied politely, her tone courteous yet distant. "Thanks for the compliment." Song Ziqing's eyes were filled with desolation. Just then, Qianqian rushed out from the side, pointing at Xiaoru. She said arrogantly, "Give me that bow in her hair right now, or I'll have my uncle punish you." Xiaoru didn't show a hint of fear. "Why should I give you what's mine? You have to give me your things." "That's what uncle said. He's your father. How dare you disobey him? All the good stuff in your house always went to me first anyway." Xiaoru rolled her eyes. "I'm not going to argue with an idiot." The scene felt all too familiar. Song Ziqing seemed to remember something, his face flushing with shame. He grabbed Qianqian. "Enough, go to your room." Being scolded for the first time, Qianqian burst into tears and began pounding her fists against Song Ziqing. "I want my dad. I'm a poor child without a father. I'm so pitiful." Hearing the commotion, Lin Feng rushed out. She shot me a resentful glare before pulling out a handkerchief to dab at her tears. "Qianqian's father left us far too soon, abandoning us, a widow and her child. We really should have gone with him." As she wept, Lin Feng kept darting glances at Song Ziqing. "If your elder brother were still here, my daughter and I would never have been reduced to this state." Song Ziqing covered his ears, his face a mask of utter disgust. Lin Feng was taken aback, her sobs halting abruptly. Lin Feng was furious. "Song Ziqing, you promised we could go back to the way things were. How can you go back on your word?" Song Ziqing let out a derisive snort. "My eldest brother is dead. If you want that life, go find him 6 feet under." I was taken aback. This was the first time Song Ziqing had ever treated the mother and daughter with such cold, hard indifference. The woman's wailing grew even more piercing. Qianqian picked up a fire poker from the ground and swung it at Song Ziqing. "You yelled at my mom. You're a bad person, a big meanie." Song Ziqing stood there, dazed and unmoving, his gaze heavy and fixed on Xiaoru and me. 11. I felt nothing but irritation and quickly led Xiaoru away from that troublesome place. Walking along the familiar country path, I was reminded of how we used to be. Song Ziqing and I were one of the rare couples who married for love. Song Ziqing was well educated, handsome, and came from a small, uncomplicated family. After marriage, we were deeply devoted to each other, always understanding and supportive, and were blessed with a beloved daughter. I thought we would continue to live out our days in quiet, steady companionship, supporting each other through life. But everything changed after his eldest brother passed away. I was reminded again of the tragedy of my daughter and me in our past life. Perhaps he didn't change. Maybe he was always this kind of person. I saw Song Ziqing again on Xiaoru's birthday. It had been 6 months. His cheeks were gaunt, his skin was sun-darkened, and he was unshaven, looking utterly worn down and aged. Clutching a small plastic bag, he instinctively withdrew his hand and grew visibly awkward upon seeing the elegant cake in our hands. "Xiaoru, happy birthday from your dad." I asked my daughter to go upstairs and do her homework first. As a father, I can't deny him the right to see his daughter, but we need to agree on a specific schedule to avoid catching each other off guard. He pleaded. "Shu-Qing, only now do I realize how terribly wrong I was. can we ever go back to how things were? I can find another job in the city, or you could bring Xiaoru to visit when you have time. I promise I'll stop looking after Lin Feng and her daughter. They're not my responsibility. I shook my head, cutting off his rambling. Xiqing, search your heart and ask yourself this: were you really accommodating them entirely out of a sense of duty to your older brother? Lin Feng was the belle of the entire region, capable of being gentle, attentive, and considerate when things were going well. Song Jiqing's elder brother only caught Lin Feng's eye after his business started to take off. Song Jiqing's face instantly turned deathly pale. I said in a low, mournful voice, if you and Lin Feng both got the chance to move to the city, you'd devote yourself to them, living together like a family, while leaving me and Xiaoru completely behind. Song Jiqing shook his head frantically. No, I wouldn't. Scenes from my past life flashed before my eyes. I sighed. So, you hope that if your daughter ever has a husband like you, she would still turn around and forgive him? I want to show her through my actions that she doesn't need to accommodate anyone, nor does she need to forgive anyone who hurts her. Someone who hurts you once is likely to do it a second or third time. She should always have the courage and the means to change an unsatisfactory life and pull herself out of the mire. Song Jiqing was stunned for a moment, then finally buried his face in his hands and wept. I think he probably understood what I meant. In the end, Lin Feng couldn't adjust to life in the countryside. She took Qianqian and remarried, this time to an older businessman. She even secretly sold off all the family's valuables. I heard they lived well for a few years, but after that, businessman went bankrupt. The mother and daughter vanished without a trace. Song Jiqing went to work in the south, sending a few hundred yuan back home every month. I accepted every payment. After all, it was the child support he owed Xiaoru. It was his debt to her. He also wrote letters, just asking how we were. I never replied to a single one, so he stopped writing and just sent the money. Xiaoru is still a sensitive soul by nature, and I understand that's just who she is. It's not something I can change, but I will always tell her I love her. No matter what happens, her mom will be there to support and help her. Sensitive children always need the most direct and tangible expressions of love. I'm working hard and studying diligently now, striving to be her strongest support. Also, I want to set a good example for her. To climb out of the mire, courage alone isn't enough. You need the capability to back it all up. I bear a great deal of responsibility for the tragedy that befell my daughter. In our past life, back then, I was busy with the farm work. Deep down, I suspected Song Jiqing probably didn't want anything to do with us, yet I kept praising him to my daughter and making excuses for him. It felt like brainwashing myself. I couldn't accept the reality of being abandoned. Now I understand. When a mother is strong, her child can be fearless. 10 years later, my daughter was admitted to a top university as she had hoped, and I was promoted to workshop foreman. Amidst the clinking of glasses, the hall was filled with a sea of guests. My husband and I, with our daughter in tow, made our rounds, toasting at each table, receiving the guests' blessings. In a daze, I caught sight of a figure by the window, watching us with a desolate, lost look. I looked up, and there was the face of Song Jiqing, whom I hadn't seen in years. Compared to my own graceful aging, he looked so much more weathered and worn. Past and present converge. The difference is, this time, we are the ones standing in the light. The end. Story 2. During the earthquake, Jiang Xinyan pushed me into the rubble to save his beloved. Thankfully, I'm tough and survived. My best friend was exasperated, begging me to stop loving Jiang Xinyan. Xing. Jiang Xinyan didn't even care if you lived or died. Please, stop liking him. In a daze, I asked, Jiang Xinyan, who's that? Some NPC character. I've lost my memory. But I remember everyone, that is, except for Jiang Xinyan. I woke up in the hospital room, dazed and confused, to find Li Xiao glaring at me furiously. The first words out of their mouth were dripping with sarcasm. Well, look who finally decided to join the living. You really would throw your life away for a man, wouldn't you? What man? I was completely bewildered, but to Li Xiao, my confusion just looked like stubborn defiance. Qing, I mean it, enough is enough. What is Jiang Xinyan worth to you? Are you really willing to risk your life to save him? Not to mention, he's overseas right now, keeping his first love company. You don't even cross his mind. As she spoke, Li Xiao, who was always so tough, began to choke up. She took hold of my hand. Tears fell in big drops onto the back of my hand as she sobbed. Xing, do you have any idea how close you came to dying? I'm begging you, please, can't you just stop liking Jiang Xinyan? I'm starting to wonder if Li Xiao is getting hooked on those murder mystery games again. Who is Jiang Xinyan? Is that some NPC character?" Completely baffled by what I was hearing, I voiced my confusion. "Xiao, what on earth are you talking about? Who is Jiang Jinyan? Is that a character from a game?" Li Zhao's sorrow froze on her face, her mouth forming a perfect O. Thinking she hadn't understood, I repeated myself immediately. She frantically pressed the nurse call button to summon a doctor. The doctor gave me a thorough examination and finally reached a conclusion. I had amnesia, and not just any amnesia. Selective amnesia. The doctor said this is a case of the brain automatically suppressing memories that are harmful to the body. You might never remember, or it could come back to you any time now. Li Xiao proceeded to drag me aside and give Jiang Jinyan a real piece of her mind. Jiang Jinyan is my boyfriend, then why did I forget him? For some reason, just hearing that name makes me feel uneasy, but then again, if someone can be forgotten that easily, they probably weren't that important to begin with. For the next while, I listened as Li Xiao recounted, in detail, all the pathetic, simpering things I used to do for Jiang Jinyan, especially this recent hospital stay. It happened when Jiang Ziyuan and I were on a business trip out of town and got caught in an earthquake. Honestly, I'm not sure what exactly happened. Jiang Jinyan claims he was the one who rescued you, but isn't that just the bare minimum? The very next day you were in the hospital. He couldn't wait to fly overseas with his childhood sweetheart. Ugh, what a scumbag, I could tell from her tone that Li Xiao genuinely disliked this guy. As the saying goes, if your best friend can't stand him, he's probably no good. Well, if you don't like him, then I don't like him either. No sooner had the words been spoken than the hospital room door swung open. It was a tall man, not bad looking at all. His features were sharp, his brows and eyes clear and handsome, yet his gaze held a deep weariness. The moment he saw me, a mocking smile tugged at the corner of his mouth. "Qin Jing, you seem perfectly fine to me. I don't see any sign of amnesia. Who is this?" I shot a questioning look at Li Xiao. Her tone was sharp. "Jiang Jinyan, why don't you just wait until our Jingjing is dead before showing up?" Me, huh, does someone have to die? The next moment, it dawned on me. So this is Jiang Jinyan, my boyfriend. I tried hard to search my memory for anything about him. Unfortunately, I genuinely can't remember. Even face to face, I didn't feel a single flutter of my heart. It was like meeting a complete stranger. Jiang Jinyan walked to the bedside, sighed, and took my hand. My instinct was to pull away. "Xingjing, please don't be like this. I know I shouldn't have saved Qianqian first during the earthquake, but she's a cellist. If she got hurt, her career would be over. Besides, you're perfectly fine now, aren't you? Can we just drop this?" I really wanted to tell the person in front of me that I wasn't faking it, and I wasn't making a scene. From Li Zhao's account, I got the general picture. I used to be deeply in love with Jiang Jinyan. I cut ties with my family for him and stood by his side as he built his business from the ground up to become the sought-after young CEO he is today. As for Qianqian, she's Jiang Jinyan's childhood friend, practically like a sister to him. This time, when Jiang Jinyan and I went on a business trip out of town, Qianqian insisted on tagging along in secret. She ended up getting lost all by herself and wandering into the countryside. Jiang Jinyan was probably taking me to find her when we just happened to run into the earthquake. On the second day I was in the hospital unconscious. Jiang Jinyan's childhood sweetheart had a concert abroad, and he eagerly tagged along with her. It's only now that he's finally found the time to come see me, and he even thinks I'm just pretending to have amnesia to spite him because I'm angry. Whatever good impression I had from our first meeting vanished completely in that moment. "Mr. Jiang, is it? I really don't know you. Please keep your hands to yourself and mind your manners." I pulled my hand away and, quite naturally, took a wet wipe from nearby to clean the spot he had grabbed. This scene, however, cut Jiang Jinyan to the quick. "Xingjing, please don't be angry anymore. I know I was wrong, I really do. From now on, I promise I'll always put you first, okay?" I frowned and didn't answer. Li Xiao, thinking I was wavering and softening, shot back with sharp words. "Jiang Jinyan, how many times have you said that? Every time you hurt Xingjing, you pull the same old routine. Aren't you tired of it? Don't think for a second that Xingjing is just some soft-hearted pushover you can fool." I'm a bit embarrassed. Are people really that love-struck? Just then, the sound of high heels echoed from outside the door. A charming woman came into view dressed in a pink suit. Her face was a picture of remorse. She burst into tears before she could even speak. "Brother Jinyan, it's all my fault. You shouldn't have saved me. I made you and Sister Xingjing argue. I'm so sorry, so sorry." With every apology, she bowed to me. Large teardrops fell to the ground, making her look utterly pitiful. Jiang Jinyan shielded the person behind him, carefully wiping away her tears. "Cece, this isn't your fault, I chose to save you, why are you apologizing to her? Li Xiao trembled with anger, her words growing even more biting and sarcastic. Oh, of course it's not your fault. I wonder who it was that insisted on driving around alone in the dead of night, got lost and didn't think to call the police. What good is finding Jiang Xinyan? Is he a cop? And you just had to drag Xingjing into it too. Yeah, no blame on you at all. I looked at the woman shielded behind Jiang Xinyan. Even in the face of such biting sarcasm, she showed not a trace of shame. In fact, I caught a glimmer of smugness and pride in her eyes, yet the words she spoke were as delicate and pitiful as those of Lin Daiyu. I shouldn't have worried about Jin Yanji driving out alone so late at night to find him. And ended up dragging Xingjia into this mess, she said, looking at me, a faint, involuntary smile curling at the corner of her lips. Xingjia, please don't fight with Jin Yanji because of me. Don't let me come between you two. If you're angry, I can kneel for you. I'll kneel until you forgive me. As she spoke, her knees bent as if to kneel, but Jiang Xinyan caught her arm. He Qian was dead set on kneeling to me, and there was no stopping her. Helpless, Jiang Xinyan turned his head and spoke in a commanding tone. Qingjing, don't go too far. Qian has already apologized to you. Hurry up and forgive her. Li Xiao was so angry she stamped her foot. She was always straightforward and couldn't play these manipulative games, yet she was worried about me. I calmly got out of bed and walked over to her. Jiang Xinyan was just about to break into a smug smile, thinking I was going to back down. Little did he know, I raised my hand and slapped He Qian across the face. After the slap, I even shook out my wrist. If you're truly sorry, shouldn't you be at the mercy of the person you wronged? Consider this slap my forgiveness. Now get up. He Qian was stunned. She hadn't expected me to actually hit her, and she was on the verge of tears again. What are you crying for? Wasn't this apology supposed to be sincere? If you're not happy, feel free to slap me back. Just as I braced myself for whatever trick she might pull next, her eyes rolled back and she fainted. Jiang Xinyan was absolutely furious. I was mentally calculating my odds of being able to take him in a fight. Qingjing, do you have to be so aggressive? I see it now. You're using your amnesia as an excuse to torment Qian on purpose. She always said you had it out for her, and I didn't believe her. Now I see it's true. Still got time to chat. If you don't get your little sweetheart out of here, I swear I'll slap her again. Li Xiao took a decisive step to stand by my side. Jiang Xinyan's face was thunderous as he carried He Qian away. After he left, Li Xiao probed me a few more times. Only when she realized I genuinely had no feelings for Jiang Xinyan did she finally breathe a sigh of relief. Then, a new worry struck her. Do you remember anyone else? She asked. About so many people, from my elementary school teachers to my current colleagues at the company. I answered every single one of them. I even remember the company I co-founded with Jiang Ziyuan, but I don't remember him at all. For the next few days, Jiang Xinyan didn't come to see me. Instead, he sent a few text messages. At first, I didn't know who it was. There was no contact name saved on my phone, just a string of numbers. Qingjing, I'll let this one slide for now, but you need to apologize to Cici. She's a cellist who performs on stage. If her face had been scarred, you couldn't have handled the consequences. It's only because Cici is gracious that she's not making a big deal out of this. I've already apologized to you for what happened. That should be enough. Do it for me. At least, just apologize to Cici, and we can put this whole thing behind us. Stop pretending to have amnesia. It's such a childish act. Do you hear me? Where does he get the confidence to think I'd still want him? After a moment's thought, I just blocked Jiang Xinyan. Later, out of sheer boredom, I searched for He Qian's name on Weibo. What popped up, however, was this hashtag Jiang Xinyan and He Qian hashtag. The perfect couple. He Qian, the youngest cellist. He Qian versus Jiang Xinyan, the sweetest intellectual romance. I couldn't help myself and searched for Jiang Xinyan and Qingjing again. Well, it's complicated, to say the least. It's all from paparazzi leaks, suggesting Qingjing may have interfered in the relationship between Jiang Xinyan and He Qian. Don't even bother reading the comments, they're all bashing me. I clicked in and saw they were all burner accounts. You can tell at a glance they're paid trolls. If I recall correctly, Jiang Xinyan and I are still together, aren't we? His actual girlfriend is getting smeared by paid articles, and he's busy stirring up a fake romance with someone else. I'm better off without a boyfriend like him. Before I was discharged, Li Xiao drilled it into me. Don't you dare go soft on him again. Since you've already forgotten, just break up with that scumbag already. I can find you 10 new guys in a heartbeat. I stood in awe and replied, Yes, ma'am, I want someone over 180 centimeters tall, with an 8-pack, and 18 years old. After being discharged, I returned to the home that lives in my mind. After entering the password and opening the door, I unexpectedly saw two people I had no desire to meet. Human looks like they're cooking. Jiang Xinyan was wearing an apron, with He Chanqian assisting him nearby. If I hadn't entered the correct password, I would have thought I'd come to the wrong home. Hearing the noise, Jiang Xinyan turned to look. He Chanqian deliberately leaned closer to him, feigning a flustered look. Sis Xingxing, what brings you back so suddenly? Oh, don't get the wrong idea. I just asked Xinyan to teach me how to cook. Nothing happened, I swear. Her words had a distinct "the lady doth protest too much" quality to them. Jiang Xinyan frowned slightly but said nothing. If there's nothing going on between those two, I'll eat my hat. Logically, I should be furious to see my own boyfriend with another woman. Yet, my heart remains utterly calm, without a single ripple of emotion. Judging by their ease, it's clearly not the first time. Oh, it's nothing. I'm just here to get my luggage. Please, carry on. While packing, I realized most of the things in the house belonged to Jiang Xinyan. All my own belongings could fit into a single suitcase. Jiang Xinyan was standing behind me at some point. Silent, you scared me. His eyes were fixed on me, and as we passed each other, he grabbed me and pulled me aside. Xinjing, have you had enough of this? Cece is right. If you really had amnesia, how could you possibly remember the way home? Jiang Xinyan scolded me for being unreasonable. You knew back then, I didn't mean to leave you behind. Cece has loved playing the violin since she was a child. If something happened to her because of me, I'd never forgive myself. A thought suddenly occurred to me. You only nearly died, but she nearly lost her entire career. Jiang Xinyan, right, whether I have amnesia or not is irrelevant. When a couple doesn't contact each other for 3 days, it's a de facto breakup. Please don't look for me anymore. Anyone with eyes can see what's going on between you and He Chanqian, and the truth is, I really don't like you anymore. Let's just part ways amicably. With that, I turned and walked away. Jiang Xinyan stood there, stunned. The moment I closed the door, he let out a cold laugh. Fine. A breakup it is. Don't you dare regret this. Qingjing. After moving out, I hailed a cab and went straight to Li Xiao's place. After I told her what had happened, Li Xiao looked at me with the proud expression of a parent watching their child grow up. Then another thought occurred to her. If you're breaking up with Jiang Xinyan, what about the company? Are you going back? You built that from the ground up. Are you really just going to hand it over to Jiang Xinyan and that little homewrecker? Of course not. Business is business, and personal feelings are personal feelings. So, the next day, I went to the office as usual. I had barely sat down when my secretary hesitantly handed me a document to sign. Hire He Chanqian as the company spokesperson. The secretary was sweating bullets, stammering as he explained it was Jiang Xinyan's idea, and now it only needed my signature and approval. 10 million a month. Has he lost his mind? For that price, I could easily hire an A-list actress with far more value than her. Tell him the request is denied. My secretary's eyes widened involuntarily, as if she couldn't believe what I had just said. Was I really that much of a lovesick fool before? Whenever Jiang Xinyan was involved, everyone around me seemed to expect me to back down. Not long after, He Chanqian burst into my office in tears. She keeps begging for my forgiveness, telling me not to let my anger affect my work. This is about me not signing her endorsement contract, isn't it? Others might not know what's going on, but she certainly does. Most of He Chanqian's fans lack purchasing power, and about 50% are fake accounts. I'd be better off hiring a D-list celebrity for the endorsement. In terms of commercial value, I wouldn't even pay $1 million for it. Sister Xingxing, all my fans know I'm supposed to be the company's spokesperson now. If you suddenly replace me, what will they think? You can't mix personal feelings with business. Brother Xinyan will be furious if he finds out. TCH. She barged into my office, all weepy and dramatic, and every word out of her mouth was pure provocation and threat. It's like if I upset her, I'll be in for a world of hurt. What does Jiang Xinyan's happiness have to do with me? Business is business, personal is personal. Surely you're not deluded about your own abilities. You just threw some money around to hype yourself up as a cello prodigy. Have you really lost all self-awareness? If I spent 10 million on you, I'd get a better return hiring a dog. He Chanqian. A person needs self-awareness. Don't be blind to your own station. If it weren't for Jiang Xinyan, do you really think you'd have the right to barge in here and speak to me? He Chan-chan's expression instantly shifted, she glared at me furiously, then in a flash, her face transformed into one of pitiful vulnerability. Tears streamed down as she covered her face with her hands, squatting down and sobbing with shuddering breaths. A sense of foreboding washed over me just as I feared. The next moment, Jiang Xinyan threw the door open in a rage and barked at me. "Qin Jing, what are you doing? First, you pretend to have amnesia, then you threaten me with a breakup, and now you're blocking Chan-chan's endorsement deal and even hurling insults at her. How have you become so vicious?" "Me, vicious?" Is Jiang Xinyan getting a bit too full of himself? Jiang Xinyan, if you're out of your mind, go get it checked. You know perfectly well how he Chan-chan got her fans. It's all bought and paid for. Even the tickets to her overseas concerts were given away for free. And still no one showed up. Didn't you pay people to fill the seats? What you do with her in private is none of my business, but don't you dare gamble the company's future just to keep some woman happy. Jiang Xinyan was shocked at how I found out. Are you kidding me? It was charged to my card. You think I wouldn't know? He Chan-chan knelt humbly on the floor, begging us not to argue over her, saying she didn't want the endorsement anymore. He Chan-chan, get this straight, it's not about whether you want it or not. Even if you did, I wouldn't approve it. Someone with no commercial value doesn't deserve this endorsement fee. Jiang Xinyan was truly furious, even going so far as to say, "Qin Jing, don't forget, this company is mine, it's not your personal dictatorship yet." He Chan-chan shot me a smug, challenging smile, her lips silently forming the words, "You'll never win against me." "Fine, I quit, then." I slammed my employee badge down on the desk. Jiang Xinyan was scared again. He knew the company could survive without him, but it couldn't survive without me. "Xing, that's not what I meant." I cut him off impatiently. "Mr. Jiang, I'd prefer you address me as President Qin. Ours is strictly a professional relationship." Faced with the threat of my resignation, Jiang Xinyan ultimately backed down. "Cece, Xing has a point. I didn't think the endorsement through clearly. You should head back for now." Jiang Xinyan was filled with remorse. He Cece shot me a resentful glare before making a hasty, disheveled exit. "Aren't you leaving, President Jiang?" I had all but shown him the door, yet Jiang Xinyan didn't budge. His pupils contracted sharply when he spotted the Rubik's Cube I'd tossed in the trash. The voice seemed to be forced through clenched teeth, laced with disbelief. "Qin Jing, you actually threw the Rubik's Cube away." Following his lead, I looked over. "What's the big deal? I never liked that thing. It's gone." "So what?" Jiang Xinyan's head snapped up as he stared at me. You really don't remember." I shrugged helplessly. "Mr. Jiang, what am I supposed to remember?" Even though I hadn't said a word, Jiang Xinyan panicked. He walked over and rummaged through the trash bin, which contained not just a Rubik's Cube, but all sorts of little trinkets, cheap and tacky. I have no idea who left them in my office. The moment I saw them, I threw them all in the trash. "It's just that." Why are Jiang Xinyan's eyes welling up with a hint of disbelief? "Xing, don't you remember? These were all gifts from me. I'm genuinely getting a bit tired. Why is this so impossible to get through to you?" "I've already said I don't remember. I don't remember. I don't like them. I don't like them." "Mr. Jiang, for the last time, I really don't like you, and I genuinely don't remember any of this stuff or you." Well, after that argument, everyone knows I've lost my memory. I remember everyone, except for Jiang Xinyan. Even my friends are placing bets on whether I'll regret it when my memories come back. A man like that, good riddance. What's there to regret? After that, Jiang Xinyan and He Chan-chan became even more brazenly public. They were frequently spotted in elevators, arm in arm and acting intimately. Their gossip dominated the trending searches for days on end, with everyone talking about them. I just never expected that He Chan-chan's fans would start attacking me simply because I turned down the endorsement deal. At first, it was just them leaving comments on the company's official website. "Fire Qin Jing, or I'll never buy a single thing from your company again." Just because Qin Jing has a crush on President Jiang, she abused her power to cancel Chan-chan's endorsement out of personal spite. How awful for Chan-chan. Fire that bitch. A woman's jealousy is truly terrifying. Just because you can't have what you love, you have to destroy someone else. He Chan-chan doesn't have many fans, but they're making a huge fuss. She personally stepped in to explain, "My dearest fans, please stop attacking others on my behalf." Even though the deal fell through at the last minute, the contract wasn't signed yet, so of course they could choose someone else. "I'm not upset, thank you all so much." TCH, this wasn't stepping in to explain, it was clearly meant to push me to the peak of public scrutiny. Because of this, the company even convened a shareholders meeting, as I'm sure you're all aware, He Qianqian doesn't have that level of commercial value. Not signing her is actually a win for the company. Furthermore, I have a more suitable candidate in mind. I presented the candidate I had prepared in advance, the international superstar, Shin-Che. The shareholders exchanged glances. President Qin, of course it would be fantastic to get Shin-Che, but given his current status, how could he possibly sign with our company? You're being far too unrealistic. I didn't say a word, but personally called Shin-Che. With his verbal agreement, all objections vanished, and the matter was settled quickly. Shin-Che is returning to the country next month. Announcing his endorsement then will undoubtedly generate massive traffic. Jiang Xinyan remained silent throughout, only stopping me after the meeting. I thought he was going to speak up for He Qianqian again, but instead, he asked me how I knew Shin-Che. Mr. Jiang, why are you meddling in my affairs instead of looking after your precious Cece? Jiang Xinyan doesn't know that Shin-Che and I grew up together, and I have a much bigger game to play. Xing, the way you're treating me now, when you get your memory back, don't you dare regret it. My steps faltered for a moment as I turned, then I quickly walked away from Jiang Xinyan. Jiang Xinyan doesn't know, but the truth is, I remembered everything a long time ago. The amnesia was real, but the moment I got home, everything came flooding back. On the day of the earthquake, Jiang Xinyan didn't fail to save me. It was him. To save He Qianqian, he instinctively pushed me away. Do you know what ground fissures are like? At that moment, I lay on the ground and watched the earth split open with my own eyes, like a gaping mouth that swallowed everything in its path. In the blink of an eye, the earth closed shut, swallowing the people and things within, burying them forever in its depths. I was pinned under a great tree that had fallen by the roadside, unable to escape, unable to cry out. I could only watch helplessly as Jiang Xinyan grabbed He Qianqian's hand and fled in panic. I don't know how long passed before the tree was lifted off me. The sight of the firefighters, the very embodiment of safety, was the last thing I saw before I finally blacked out. I was with Jiang Xinyan for 6 years. I cut ties with my family for him and started the business with him from the ground up. When the company was at its lowest point, I begged my friends to throw some business Jiang Xinyan's way. In the beginning, before He Qianqian came along, Jiang Xinyan and I had a very good relationship. Later, the company went public, and He Qianqian returned to the country. It was just like the return of the white moonlight in a novel. The male lead lost all reason, instinctively favoring the white moonlight in his heart time and again. He abandoned me and chose He Qianqian. She's just like a little sister to me. Don't overthink it. He tacitly allowed He Qianqian to fuel their on-screen couple rumors, even when I was misunderstood as the homewrecker who hurt their relationship. Jiang Xinyan still urged me to swallow my pride and endure it. I was foolish back then. Despite the deep disappointment and hurt in my heart, I did it all for love. I endured it until that earthquake. I've finally seen Jiang Xinyan for who he really is. This time, I'm taking back what's rightfully mine. The day Shin-Che returned to China, Weibo crashed because of him. We had the company announce the endorsement deal immediately. Ride the wave of his popularity. The first endorsement deal for an international superstar upon returning home is, naturally, the center of everyone's attention. I went to pick him up at the airport and was almost swallowed up by his fans. It probably won't be long before videos pop up on marketing accounts, showing Shin-Che getting into a strange woman's car alone, sparking rumors of a relationship. Shin-Che, that's enough, just waltzing right in like that. Are you trying to get me killed? Even after all these years apart, there's not a trace of unfamiliarity between us. The man before me had a head of vibrant, multicolored hair, skin better maintained than my own, and a pair of peach blossom eyes that, with a single smile, could utterly captivate one's soul. Little Xing, it's just that after all these years apart, I couldn't wait a moment longer to see you. Damn it, I'm about to be charmed into a silly grin. If Shin-Che hadn't gone abroad, given our family backgrounds, we might have actually ended up together. It's just a shame. Times have changed. The contract's ready to sign. Stop the chatter, I said, sliding the document over. A faint smile played on Shin-Che's lips as he signed it without even glancing, the pen scratching swiftly across the page. Aren't you afraid I'll sell you out? He looked out the window with a careless air, shooting me a glance that seemed to say, you wouldn't dare. All right, I wouldn't dare. I'm afraid Shin-Che's fans would tear me to pieces. I was just going to drop Shin-Che off at home, but he insisted on coming to the office with me. As soon as we got to the office, the female staff went crazy. Even my usually composed secretary was swooning over him. I suspect this guy came here on purpose just to show off. While I was showing Shin-Che around the company, he suddenly brought up, so, where's that boyfriend of yours? what's his name, Jiang Jinyan, we broke up, seriously. Why do I get the feeling you're happy about my breakup? Shinche awkwardly rubbed the bridge of his nose. His eyes avoiding mine, I just went over and gave him a headshot. Don't play dumb, you think I don't know you came out of the closet? Exactly, the biggest reason Shinche and I aren't together is because this guy likes men. Shinche's dark eyes settled on me, and he seemed to say very softly, I should have known better than to lie to you, you idiot, but I didn't quite catch that. Shinche caused quite a stir at the company, and of course, Jiang Jinyan found out. He insisted on treating us to a meal, citing the rules of hospitality. As if he'd lost his mind, Shinche agreed without a second thought. So, it's me and Shinche, Jiang Jinyan and He Chanqian. Our eyes met. I see, they're trying to use Shinche to pave the way for He Chanqian. President Jiang, aren't you going to introduce the lady beside you, your new girlfriend? I presume, you two make such a lovely couple. Here, let me propose a toast to you both. Shinche went on without a pause, leaving Jiang Jinyan no opening to deny it. He Chanqian was all too eager to cement this perceived relationship with Jiang Jinyan. After the meal, I excused myself to use the restroom, and He Chanqian followed right after me. She blocked my path, looking at me sideways with a smirk curling at the corner of her mouth. Qin Jing, you really are something. You break up with Jinyan one moment and are with Shinche the next. That contract with him, you didn't sleep your way into it, did you? I gave a scornful laugh. You think everyone is like you. Then I turned and walked away. He Chanqian looked very uncomfortable, as if I had hit a nerve. Someone like her is just digging her own grave. Shinche was suddenly picked up by his agent, and Jiang Jinyan, for some inexplicable reason, insisted on driving me home. He even left He Chanqian behind on the spot. I asked him how he could be okay with letting his precious little sister go back alone. She's an adult. I can't look after her forever, can I? That sounds awfully familiar. I think I might have said that. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Jiang Jinyan and I got into the car, leaving He Chanqian behind on the spot. The silence stretched on, and I could tell Jiang Jinyan had something on his mind. Since he didn't speak, I pretended not to notice. It was only when I was about to get out of the car that Jiang Jinyan finally couldn't hold back. He said, Xing, I've missed you so much these past days. I've also been reflecting on how I was too lenient with Cece. It's okay if you don't remember me. I can start pursuing you all over again, I joked. With all the rumors about you and He Chanqian, I don't want to be mistaken for the other woman. But Jiang Jinyan took my words a different way. Xing, I understand now. Wait for me. I don't know what Jiang Jinyan said to He Chanqian, but she actually came forward on her own to clear up the rumors. She said they were just good friends who grew up together and asked everyone not to misunderstand. TSK, he's really looking out for He Chanqian, isn't he? If he were the one to clarify things, He Chanqian would likely be labeled a clout chaser, and if netizens dug deeper, she'd be cemented as the other woman. But of course, I'll have to return the favor. I spent a fortune on a massive army of trolls, who flooded the comments section with claims that Jiang Jinyan had a girlfriend of 6 years. Soon, netizens dug up the entire history of my relationship with Jiang Jinyan. Here's the tea. Remember the earthquake in the neighboring county a while back? He Chanqian went to find Jiang Jinyan. In the end, Jiang Jinyan left with He Chanqian, and his girlfriend had to be rescued by firefighters. What kind of just friends go stargazing together? That was clearly premeditated. Oh my god, Jiang Jinyan's girlfriend is Qin Jing. She supported him through starting his business, and in the end, she was even slandered. He Chanqian was so furious she called me directly. What followed was a barrage of accusations. Qin Jing, was this your doing? Did you deliberately get Jinyan to force me to clarify, and then hire people to smear me? Are you trying to ruin me? To be honest, I did it on purpose. Why shouldn't she have to endure what I went through before? Besides, isn't that the truth? Jiang Jinyan knew it was me. Of course, I didn't try to hide it at all when I did those things. Not only that, but it was also exposed that He Chanqian's credentials as a cellist are completely fraudulent. The scoop is, during her performances, the music being played is actually someone else playing backstage. He Chanqian is just faking it. She can't play a note. And about her studying abroad, I saw her when I was studying overseas, working in a shady entertainment venue. Yeah, you know what I mean. Her reputation was entirely bought. It's utterly worthless in reality, which is why Qin Jing refused to be the sucker. He Chanqian has gone viral though, in a different way. She's been dragged into the spotlight. She's even afraid to leave her house now, terrified of being recognized. Jiang Jinyan seems to have locked horns with Shinche. Shinche asked me out to dinner, and Jiang Xinyan was right there waiting for me downstairs. Shinche came to pick me up from work, and Jiang Xinyan deliberately found an excuse to make me work overtime if I didn't have my own agenda. I really wouldn't want to deal with them anymore. But this wave of publicity, combined with Shinche's endorsement, has completely skyrocketed our company's reputation. I've truly solidified my position within the company. Father, does this prove I'm capable of taking over the company now? You've handled the public opinion well, but it didn't meet my expectations. Keep working at it. Yes, on the surface, I cut ties with my family for Jiang Xinyan. In reality, it was also a test from my father. A daughter of the Qin family can be love-struck, but she cannot be without capability. Before signing the contract with Shinche, I had already acquired a number of the company's scattered shares. Combined with what I already held, it still only amounted to 20%. Jiang Xinyan holds the ultimate authority in the company. He owns 30% of the shares. There's still a gap before we can take him down. However, Jiang Xinyan soon gave me the opportunity because he proposed to me. After I repeatedly accepted Jiang Xinyan's advances, he felt he had a chance. Xingzheng, I'm offering you 10% of the company's shares as a marriage proposal. Will you marry me? A shower of rose petals filled the air. Jiang Xinyan knelt before me, holding a bouquet of my favorite roses. His expression was devout and full of deep affection. I smiled and accepted the flowers, which made Jiang Xinyan's face light up with joy. The next moment, the flower was slammed violently to the ground, its petals scattered everywhere just like Jiang Xinyan's heart. Xingzheng, you. He looked up, his expression wounded. Can't handle it already, Jiang Xinyan. What if I told you I've remembered everything, including how you abandoned me during the earthquake? Do you really think I could ever forgive you? Jiang Xinyan collapsed to the ground, his face etched with sorrow. He opened his mouth weakly and murmured, Xingzheng, I'm so sorry. To be honest, I had genuinely considered accepting Jiang Xinyan's proposal that way. I could easily get what I wanted now, but Shinche had a point. What you earn through your own ability is what you can hold on to securely and with peace of mind. Even if I accept this 10%, it's only 30, it's just a 50-50 split with Jiang Xinyan at best. He pinched Jiang Xinyan's chin, his tone razor sharp. Jiang Xinyan, have I ever done anything to wrong you? No. While we were together, did I ever mess around behind your back? No. When you were at your lowest, did I ever abandon you? No. And you, do you have any romantic feelings for He Chanqian? Jiang Xinyan had no answer, his expression bleak and defeated in the end. He laughed with a heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching intensity. Ha ha ha, I deserve this, I deserve all of this. He got to his feet and asked me, Xingzheng, is there really no chance left for us? I said firmly, no. Jiang Xinyan didn't come to the company for a long time during this period. I worked hard to cultivate my own team within the company and even bought out shares from other shareholders at a high price. On top of that, I secured Shinche's endorsement for the company, which gave me enough clout to rival Jiang Xinyan's authority. Jiang Xinyan seemed to know everything, yet he never interfered. He simply let me take the reins of the company, as if that could make up for things a little. Unfortunately for him, he was wrong. My ambition doesn't stop here. I want the entire company. I've replaced everyone in the company, from top to bottom. When Jiang Xinyan arrived, he found that everyone except his secretary had been changed. But why does he have a black eye and a swollen face? Well, Xingzheng, are you happy now? I laughed. Jiang Xinyan, you don't actually think you're bestowing these things upon me, do you? I produced the shareholder transfer agreement. Now, I hold 35% of the company's shares. Everyone here is loyal to me. Did you really think all of this was your doing? He stared at me in disbelief, as if he had never truly known me. Xingzheng, anything you want, just say the word, and I'll give it to you. Don't tell me you actually think you're some grand romantic hero. Where were you earlier? You're mistaken. What I want, I'll fight for myself. That goes for love, and for my career. Shinche suddenly showed up, standing behind me and handing me a roasted sweet potato. It was terribly ill-timed, but it was warm, soft, and very sweet. Jiang Xinyan posed one final question. How did you meet Shinche? Is it really like Chanqian said, that you two? The usually carefree Shinche adopted a serious expression. Jiang Xinyan, did you not know? Qingjing is the sole heir of the Qin family. Do you really think you achieved all you have entirely on your own? I removed Jiang Xinyan from his position. I wanted to buy out his shares, but Jiang Xinyan refused. I can leave the company, as long as I can still have some connection with you. Please, Xingzheng, don't be so cruel. After I took full control of the company, I implemented a major transformation according to my plan. The market is extremely volatile right now. If we Stick to our original development plan. We'll go bankrupt sooner or later, but I'm not willing to just hand Jiang Xinyan a profit on a silver platter. I deliberately leaked information that the company was performing poorly under my management, suffering heavy losses, and that Shin-Che was even planning to unilaterally terminate his contract. In just 1 week, the company's stock price plummeted, and a lot of troublemakers started showing up. Just as I thought, Jiang Xinyan couldn't sit still for long. Xing, is your offer still on the table? To buy my shares at market price? I couldn't have been more eager. Oh, you weren't interested before. Now that the company's on a downturn, you're in a hurry to bail out. Jiang Xinyan looked troubled. Cece is sick. I need money urgently. That's a pretty good excuse. Naturally, I proceeded with the acquisition from Jiang Xinyan as agreed, just at the current market price. Of course, all things considered, I actually saved a few million to my surprise. He Chanqian really was sick, and it was serious advanced stage liver cancer. A fortune was spent on her, like pouring money into a bottomless pit. Jiang Xinyan had also become haggard, running to the hospital every day. I went to see her at the hospital once. Even while undergoing chemotherapy and having lost all her hair, she couldn't suppress her true nature. See, Qin Jing. In the end, Jiang Xinyan is still mine. He Chanqian, I hope one day you'll understand that a woman is not a man's accessory, merely a spice in life. I have wealth, good health, and all the time in the world to meet someone better, and you, with nothing but a broken body and a man who doesn't love you, only stays out of guilt. I don't envy you in the slightest. After I had taken complete control of the company, I announced its merger with the Qin Group. The crowd was in an uproar, and my true identity was fully exposed. Netizens joked that I started a company just to date someone. I did terminate the endorsement deal with Shin-Che, because I invited him to become the company's brand ambassador instead. I'll keep your sexual orientation a secret, and you'll do something for me. What was it that Shin-Che said again? He said, Qin Jing, I don't believe you can't see how I feel about you. The reason I went abroad 7 years ago was because you said you didn't like a nobody of a star, that excuse I used to brush off other women. Don't tell me you actually believed it. You were using me, Qin Jing. A pang of guilt washed over me. I was the one who encouraged Shin-Che to go abroad back then. I knew he would become an international superstar sooner or later, and that he would eventually be a great asset to my career, but that doesn't mean my heart didn't skip a beat back then, even if it was just for a fleeting moment. Shin-Che saw he had hit the nail on the head and insisted I give him an explanation. He was furious that day, and all our friends were there. Qin Jing, I left when you told me to. You turned around and started dating another man, using me to make your ex jealous. I accepted all of that willingly, but now, you've achieved your goal. Are you still going to ignore my feelings for you? Sometimes, meeting a clever man can be a real headache. Under Shin-Che's relentless pursuit, I reluctantly agreed to go out with him. Who would have thought this guy couldn't keep it to himself? He posted about it on Weibo that very night. At Qin Jing, meet your sister-in-law, Shin-Che has a lot of fangirls, but they all sent their blessings in unison, seemingly happy that he finally won over the girl he loves. Wah, who would have thought? Big bro finally got together with the one he likes. This guy's no good. It took him 7 whole years to win over his wife. Best wishes. I just found out that Shin-Che had been hinting to his fans about this for a long time. Even when he was abroad, in every public interview, he would mention that there was a girl he really liked, but he just couldn't win her over at first. The fans found it hard to accept, but after Shin-Che's 7-year-long pursuit, they all felt sorry for their idol. Some fans even joked, just tell us who she is, bro, we'll go kidnap her for you. I couldn't help but think back to our high school days, when Shin-Che stood on stage, radiant, yet his gaze always found its way to me. Ever since Shin-Che and I got together, whenever I work late, he posts these pitiful questions on Weibo. Your sister-in-law is working late again, am I not handsome enough? Sis-in-law isn't coming home again tonight. I'm just another cog in her career play machine. Shin-Che has become a total simp, while I've gained a whole crew of career stands. At first, the comments under my Weibo posts were all telling me to work less overtime, and then it became, even my sister-in-law is working this late. I got up and cranked out a 100-page PPT overnight. For a time, I became the benchmark everyone looked to. On the day Shin-Che and I got married, Jiang Xinyan showed up too. He didn't come in, just stood at the doorway during the ceremony. As the officiant was presiding, I could have sworn I saw Jiang Xinyan silently mouth the words, I do, too. Shin-Che witnessed this scene. Furious, he had Jiang Xinyan thrown out. He even threatened me, if you keep thinking about that man, I'll hang myself. I'm not joking." Shinche would actually do it after a solid week of business trips. I came home to find Shinche parading around with a white silk sash he'd dug up from who knows where, deliberately waving it in front of me. Sigh, if my wife is never home, what's the point of living? The following year, I gave birth to a set of twins, a boy and a girl, with both a son and a daughter now in the world. Shinche was so overcome with emotion outside the delivery room that he kept fainting, only to wake up and pass out again. To be honest, I didn't even cry myself later. He simply left the industry and devoted himself entirely to raising his child at home. The last time I saw Jiang Jinyan was in the news. He took his own life, holding He Cici's ashes in a final act of devotion. Some say he truly loved He Chantian, but Shinche said he just couldn't accept his fall from grace, and on the brink of despair, he still wanted to salvage his reputation. What does that have to do with me? All is calm, all is well. From Shinche's perspective, October 25, 2017. This is my first year since debut, and I already have 10 million fans. My manager has been suggesting I go abroad for further training, but I'm not willing to today. Qingjing said she likes international superstars and hinted that I should go abroad for further study. She said she loves to see me shining brightly on a bigger stage. Well, I guess I'll go then. December 1st, 2017. I hate Qingjing. She lied to me. She even said she'd contact me after going abroad, but she hasn't called once. January 1st, 2018. Qingjing is a liar. She talked me into going abroad, and then she started dating someone else. I never want to like her again. May 5, 2018. I still really like Qingjing. Am I a hopeless case? December 29, 2019. Way to go, Qingjing. You didn't even send me a New Year's text. Is your boyfriend the jealous type? If I were her boyfriend, I'd be much more easygoing. August 19, 2023. Qingjing finally remembered to call me. She wants me to come back to the country. She must miss me, right? I'm not going back. Let her sweat it out. Ah, forget it. Let's just head back. August 30th, 2023. Can you believe it? Qingjing actually wants me to be the spokesperson for her and that man's company. I'm so mad, but I heard they broke up. I can totally swoop in now. September 23rd, 2023. Is Qingjing out of her mind? Does she think I came out of the closet? October 7th, 2023. I had no idea Qingjing had sacrificed so much for this man. My heart aches for you. I gave Jiang Jinyan a secret beating. If my agent hadn't stopped me, I swear I would have broken one of his legs. December 31st, 2023. I finally won Qingjing over. It doesn't matter if she used me before, it just proves I'm important. Otherwise, why wouldn't she have used someone else? Shinche likes Qingjing. He likes her so much.